Okay. Nick admitted you.
There I am.
There's Diane.
Okay, so if you want to, I'm going to hang up now.
Okay.
And now I'm on the computer.
All right.
So start that. And do you want to make me the host? And then I'll see if I can launch that poll.
Okay. There we go.
Polls. Untitled poll. Okay.
Shouldn't be untitled though. It should be.
Both of them will work. It's fine. We could close the meeting and you could change the name of it, but I think untitled poll will work because the question is, should the VMICC pursue 501c4 status? And it's a single choice. Choice 1 is yes. Choice 2 is no. I think that's probably good enough.
You like it, Diane?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'll have the exact wording in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we need to put the whole motion in there.
No, we'll read it out and put it in the chat. We'll read it out for the people who are coming on by telephone, and put it in the chat for everybody else.
Hey, Diane, great work.
Hey, David.
Hey. Really good work. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks. I've been doing some bunch of other stuff too.
Uh-huh.
Hardly wait to talk about at some point.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll have a quorum tonight. Seeing as
We
how
ought
it's
to.
a holiday. Yet another holiday.
Who sent out the agenda?
Camille sent out the reminder agenda. She sent out the first one, and then she sent out the reminder agenda on Friday.
Okay.
And it's also posted, it was also posted on the website.
Okay.
And my house is a mess.
You need a different background, Nick.
Yeah.
Well, you got kids, what can you expect?
This is very true.
Then I try to relief factor. And now I depend on it every day to help me get out to stay out of pain. Or for a living like I do, or if everyday aches and pains slow you down, do what I did and order the 3-week quick start.
There. At least now it's a blurry mess.
Hey, there you go. That looks good. How did you do that?
Push the blur button.
Oh, I should try that. Okay. There. That's nice. How do I get the cat tail in mine though?
Cat is custom.
Hi, Amy.
Hello.
Hi, Melvin.
Hello.
Hi, Armin. My phone. Oh, John, you've joined us. Hey, Hunter.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Recording in progress.
I have to get rid of that horrible first name.
How do you do that?
Don't mention it or it'll be the death of you.
Is everybody ready for a return to the deep freeze?
Get on our snow boots. I think you're muted.
Who is muted?
Is
Okay.
David muted? Is he talking?
Yes, David is muted.
Yeah, this better.
Where's your cat?
Oh,
My cat always would come when the computer was on because it was warm.
he was sitting behind me.
What's
All
his
right.
name?
That's Nick.
Where are your cute kids? Yeah.
They're in California.
Oh, no, I meant Nick. You're cute kids too, David. But where are your cute kids, Nick?
They're going to bed. They're brushing teeth at the moment.
That's why I come to this meeting, to see cats and kids. Not really.
Well, we're creeping up on a quorum.
Yeah, and it's just about 7 o'clock, so we don't have to vote yet on anything.
No.
And thank you all for coming. This is the Vashon-Maury Island Community Council, and it may be one of its last in that format because we are in the process of doing a reboot. And Diane Emerson, who's the vice president now, has been working on that to restructure this organization so that it will be a 501c4 organization. So it will not have the same ability to collect money as a 501c3, but it won't have the political restrictions that a 501c3 would have on it for political lobbying. In fact, that is what the purpose of the organization would be for. So why restrict it? And the only downside is we won't be able to collect money, but we're running on a pretty, small, as a charitable thing, but we have a small budget anyway. So I think it's just a great idea, and Diane has been researching it and doing the work to get this going, and it looks like it's ready to go, and we have a vote on it this evening. So it's kind of exciting. Let's see, Nick, would you like to give us a brief overview of the technical issues?
Sure. Most people are familiar with Zoom, but this is Zoom. The most important one is don't sign on with more than one device, particularly in the same room. Keep yourself muted unless you're speaking. And I will be muting folks who forget. So when you go to speak, if David calls on you or you want to speak, you have to hit the unmute button before you talk. You can ask to be recognized with the raise hand. It depends on what platform you're using, where that raise hand button is. For a lot of people, it is in the reactions tab. There's a little thing that says raise hand. Sometimes it'll be in a bar on the right-hand side of the screen. That is it. The democratic rules of order that this meeting is operating under have been posted in the chat. So if you have any sort of procedural questions, they can be answered by going to that link. If you are on a phone and you would like to be recognized, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and just kind of say your name, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you. So let's see. In any event, welcome to our meeting for February 21st, and it's presently the Vashon-Maury Island Community Council, but we're going to have to change it slightly in order to make it a new organization so that it doesn't have all these penalties for not being faster about it. Is that correct, Diane?
Yes, I might as well chat about that a little bit while we're waiting for more people to show up. When we realized that it would be much better for us as an organization and for the community if we were organized as a 501c4 organization instead of 501c3, when we looked into just saying, well, why don't we just switch over to being a 501c4 with the IRS, we discovered that they have a time limit from when you first form as an organization. You have 60 days to apply for that status of 501c4. And every day beyond the first 60 days that you exist as an organization, if you don't request that status, there's a penalty of $20 a day, up to a maximum of $5,000. So if we wanted to, if we had the money, we could say pay the fee, the $5,000 late fee, and apply for 501c4 status with the IRS. But we don't have $5,000. We have more time than money. So we shall start a new organization and make sure that we get our application in for 501c4 status within the first 60 days, or as soon as possible thereafter, from when we form as a new organization. So as a new organization, we need a new name, and we have to have a new UBI number to make sure the IRS sees you're a new organization. Hence the new name.
All right. And, you know, when you think about Vashon-Maury Island Community Council, wouldn't it really be two islands? So shouldn't it have been Vashon-Maury Islands Community Council? So I think we're just making a correction here. If we were to say it's Vashon-Maury Community Council, you know, just a thought. But thank you for the work you've been doing on this, Diane. It's really good. And we weren't, over the years, we never had to fundraise to a large degree. Part of that was because King County was supporting the organization with a $10,000 grant. But before that, we just ran on a shoestring budget, and that's the way we've been able to survive. So I think it's just a great idea. It suits the organization. And thank you for putting this together. Anyway, I need to get back to the agenda. Let's see. I've lost the agenda for the meeting.
Would you like me to email it to you?
Yeah, that would be great.
In the meantime, may I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm not a legal expert by any manner of means, but I have observed the government for at least the last 70 years, and I would be willing to bet that if we change our name by one letter or by one word, that we're going to be in deep trouble with the government. I think it's going to take a big name change in order to make us look like we are actually doing what we're trying to do.
What do you think of that, Diane?
I totally agree.
Okay, so what would you suggest?
Well, the names that are being proposed are, I believe, different enough from our current name that it should be okay. No one is suggesting that we just change one letter of our current name.
I'm sorry, I thought David was suggesting that. My fault.
David was maybe wishful thinking about that, but
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
when you see the list of the new names, which I will post when we get to that point or whenever, you'll see that they're different enough. Unfortunately, we can't run new names past the Secretary of State. We have to go ahead and put in our name, apply for articles of incorporation, and see if it's accepted or not. But we have several names to pick from that I think the community will find acceptable. And one of those surely will be acceptable to the Secretary of State.
Okay,
And we need 3 more people to join in.
4.
Four.
Armin is on with 2 devices.
Oh, okay.
all right. I don't see the email from you, Diane.
No, let me check again, make sure I sent it.
Okay.
The next thing is to approve the minutes of the last meeting. If
Oh,
everyone's had
okay.
a chance to take a look at those.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting? All right, does anyone, have you explained the raise your hand? Okay, so if anyone has not had a chance to see it and has a question, please raise your hand. And if I don't see that, then we will. Okay, hey, Melvin.
I think if we're going to make a decision from this body, we have to have a quorum first.
We
Oh,
do.
we will.
We have 22, right?
That's right, it's not a quorum yet.
Yeah,
We need 3 more people.
That's true. So in
we
order
need-
to take a vote,
Yeah, that's right. But we
else we
can
can
certainly
do in the
discuss
meantime?
things.
what's that?
Is there something else we can do that doesn't require a vote until we
Sure, most of the meeting doesn't require votes. We can just conduct the rest of the meeting that doesn't require, a specific
I
vote.
think what he's asking is, can we approve the minutes?
Oh,
No, that's not what I'm asking. We
Oh,
need a
okay, I'm
quorum
sorry.
to approve the meeting, the
But
minutes.
that's right, that's what I'm saying. We don't have a
Yeah.
quorum. How can we approve the minutes?
We can't.
That's right. I think he's
But
right.
we can do something that doesn't require a decision.
sure, okay. And let's see.
Felt so important.
Danielle?
Yeah, so I'm Danielle DeClerc. I'm here for John Taylor. And if you would like, I could give everybody the local services update and kind of tell you what we've been up to while we
Okay,
wait for people to show up.
yeah, that sounds great. It's a good opportunity.
Okay, and then also, ask any questions that you would like, because I'm doing this off the cuff. I don't have anything prepared, but I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Okay,
John is taking the week off, so he's not here. You're getting me instead. I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Local Services at King County. It's awfully nice to meet everybody. I have to say that you are incredibly well organized. The number of reminders I got and information I got was outstanding. I couldn't have missed this, right? And it was a holiday. So it was in my inbox and my calendar. It was great. So first things is everybody should be receiving a flyer or a mailer from King County Local Services. I think it's the first time that we've done that. And
Okay.
in that mailer should be arriving this week. So Hopefully it should be arriving this week because we sent it to the mail house last week. And that mailer will include a little bit of information about participatory budgeting, which doesn't apply to Vashon at this stage, but hopefully will in the next biennium. We're going to see if we can get a little bit more funding to do that. But we'll also include a little bit of information about the town hall, which is coming up. The town hall meeting will be held on March 17th. It's in the evening. And if you go to the link that will be in that mailer, it will tell you more information about what the Zoom link is, etc. The town halls this year, we're not going to do the same thing that we've normally done, which is where we have the separately elected and the council member and several of the departments kind of tell you what they're doing in your areas. Sometimes that's fairly repetitive from some perspectives. What we're going to do this year is really try to use the meeting to prioritize the community needs list. And so I don't know if everybody here participated in the community needs list work to date, but back in early 2021, we sent out publicinput.com links to just say, what is it that you would like from King County? What are the needs for the community from King County? We got a fairly long list of items. We've sorted through those, we've bucketed them into groups. And we're hoping to use that town hall meeting to prioritize those community needs lists, which we're required to do by council because they will be used by all of the departments to develop their budgets as input to develop their budgets. So community needs list, if something is on it, it's not a guarantee that it's going to get done by the county. Obviously, the funds that we have are pretty much all allocated. And so to do something, they might need to take money away from some other priority. And so there's a lot of balancing that will go on. But those lists are being used by departments now to start seeing whether the items on them are feasible, whether they align with other county priorities, and whether they are something that could be either funded with current operations, potentially funded in the next biennium, or if they don't align with county priorities and the other work that the county is doing, probably wouldn't happen, in the next biennium. But it's a great way for all communities, not only Vashon and Maury Island, but a great way for communities to really get their priorities considered by all of the departments. And the reports, once we've gotten the prioritization from the community, once we have all of the department input, that information goes to council. Council is going to adopt those community needs lists with the budget, and departments are supposed to use them to really help inform their budgets. So it's kind of an important body of work. I hope everybody can come on the 17th. If you can't come, and even if you can come, in that same mailer will be a link to publicinput.com. That website is being built now, but it contains a list of everything that we've heard so far. And it's also bucketed so that you can go in there and prioritize. It's very simple questions. It is a website, but it can be anonymous, or you can add your email address if you'd like. But you can just mark things as high, medium, or low. So there'll be a bucket around roads, right? And there are all the different things that people would like in regards to roads. Well, which items are high, which items are medium priority, and which item are lower priority? Of course, we'd all like to say that everything is important, but roads has limited funding, for example. They're a great example of that. They have limited funding, so not everything can be a high priority. So from your perspective, we want everybody to go in as an individual. From your perspective, what are the high priority items, medium, and low priority items? So really, really look for that flyer or that mailer in the next couple of days. It should arrive, I can't guarantee it. Postage is a little slow these days, but it should arrive in the next couple of days. So that's our kind of big body of work. We're doing town halls with all of the different communities in unincorporated King County in March. It's a very, very, very busy month for us. We're working hard on all the community needs lists, as are all of the departments. That's also a lot of work. I mean, different communities have different numbers, different priorities, and agencies are going to have to evaluate, the priorities of the different communities against each other to see what they can implement and fund in the next biennium, or even this biennium. So there's a lot going on around that. Let's see, other things around Vashon in particular. That list will have sort of brief summaries of what has been asked for, and it includes everything from sort of flooding care to rebuilding, certain roads to more bike trails. A number of different items are on there, and I'm sure you will recognize your voices in there if you were one of those that submitted some ideas. what you'd like to have seen. There's also one of the requests on there is also to do the litter cans for Vashon, for sort of the downtown area. That's something that John and I have been a little bit remiss in. We reached out to Parks to see if they had extra litter cans available. They don't. Those sort of really good sort of urban litter cans, you know, the ones that have that metal outside, they cost about $1,000 each, I think. So we're looking at our budget to see if we can afford to supply those for downtown Vashon and see how many we can get. So we're still evaluating how much of that we can actually do within local services, you know, what we're about to do too, in terms of how our funding is generated. So we're still working on that. So I'm sorry, because we haven't pursued it as hard. I've been buried in the community needs list and John is buried in everything as always, but we are still working with that. We haven't dropped it. So looking at our budget for that. I'm trying to think of anything else that's important. I mean, there's always so much going on. King County Sheriff's Office, they're moving forward. So they are now within the executive branch, or will be within the executive branch soon. There's lots of work going on at the executive's office around that. There's some work going on around reimagining public safety to really make sure that the right people show up when there's a 911 call, so that you're getting the mental health expert if that's actually what's needed for that call. So that work is happening. Any questions? Anything particular you want to know? And I'll do my best to answer.
Have there been changes at the sheriff's office as a result of the takeover?
I believe just the King County Sheriff, so the primary, you know, the main individual is changing, but the rest, everybody is still there. So there haven't been any layoffs or anything like that.
Have they announced who the new sheriff is going to be?
There hasn't been a new sheriff announced yet, to the best of my knowledge. There is somebody who's there as an interim. I'm trying to remember her name. She was sort of their equivalent of a chief of staff before and has moved into that position in the interim. But I think they're still looking. I don't think a new announcement has been made.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I see you have your hand, James.
Yeah, my name is Jim Garrison.
Oh, hey, Jim.
Hi there. So there are rumors going around that the building department didn't renew its lease on the building out at Snoqualmie, and that going forward, there's not going to be a building associated with that department?
No, not quite. Well, yes and no. So I don't believe they haven't renewed their lease yet, but I don't believe that they're going to renew their lease. This is still being discussed with council. What they want to do is do satellite offices. So Snoqualmie is just so far away from some parts of unincorporated King County that what they'd like to do are a couple of satellite offices and then have a smaller kind of primary office that will probably be, I don't know if it's been decided yet where it will be, maybe Renton, but don't quote me on that. That will be a little bit closer to South King County. But basically working or telecommuting has been working so well for so many different county positions and roles. And that commute time is, you know, fantastic for climate change and keeping cars off the roads. That I think permitting has found that they're quite successful being remote. They understand that there's still a customer need to be in person and to be available for individuals that need to come in. So they're looking at doing the satellite offices and doing a couple of different spots.
Well, yeah, I'm just a little concerned because you say that the telecommuting has been working really well. I wouldn't say that's true for the customer end.
Okay.
There are long delays in getting callbacks, long delays on getting anybody to ever call you back at all. So, and I'm just a little bit concerned that if there's no actual building, there's not going to be anywhere where you can go and throw paint on the wall.
There will be an actual building, so I wouldn't worry about that. There will be actual location for them.
Okay, thank you.
They won't all be housed. They won't all be housed there, but there will be an actual place that you could go to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Diane, I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, with your paint bucket. Yes, I have my hand raised. There was a question that was submitted for you, And I would just like to go ahead and ask it. Terry Hayes submitted a question. Is there a way to ask about fixing potholes on Maury Island, like was already done on Vashon? So what do you think?
I think that's one of the questions on the community needs list as well. The best way to get potholes filled is to call that 1-800-ROADS hotline number. I don't have it handy, but I can certainly send it to you. And they assess the potholes and then fill them as soon as they can. They have the pothole rangers, that go out and actually fill potholes. So that's the best place to report individual potholes or even a road segment of potholes, is that roads customer line. That immediately gets into their work program. They will go out and evaluate it and do it. In terms of doing like a wholesale, let's go find every pothole on the island and fix it. I don't know that they're doing that, but I don't know the answer to that. I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility. It is within the realm of possibility.
Okay, well,
But I would use that 100 roads hotline number to report segments of roads that are particularly bad.
I will let Terry know and he can burn that hotline number up.
Okay.
And that hotline number is in the chat for anyone interested.
Fantastic. Thank you, whoever did that for me.
And Douglas Ostrom has his hand raised.
Yes, I have a question about fireworks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I'm wondering where things stand on the county ban on fireworks, especially on Vashon and especially on public spaces like county parks and Vashon Park District parks and other public places where it's only a matter of time until somebody gets killed or injured or a house burns down.
Right. So fireworks are officially banned starting this year. So 2022 fireworks are banned in King County. That doesn't mean that they won't happen. We all know that. I mean, I, for one, as a kid, loved fireworks, right? Who didn't? Maybe some here didn't, but who didn't? So what we're doing now is we're trying to look at how do we do enforcement, right? So fireworks are banned, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be going off. How do we do enforcement? And so that's a big question. It's a little tricky. The Department of Local Services is responsible for coming up with a plan for how we do enforcement. I think for this year, we're going to do an incredible amount of outreach before the 4th of July to let everybody know that fireworks are banned. And then probably do this first year as a year where if you called in a complaint, somebody would get a letter or a call, sort of a heads up warning. This, it's illegal to light fireworks, whether it's 4th of July or New Year's Eve, doesn't matter, or any other occasion. So there'll be more of a sort of a warning system idea this year. And then next year we get more citations probably. But our enforcement plan, when it's fully developed, will also need to go to council and be approved by council. But that's where we're standing at this point. So there'll be hopefully lots of news about fireworks are banned in 2022.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. And any other hands raised? No. Okay, did you have other things that you would like to talk about?
Not in particular. I would say the community needs us are important. Our biennial budget goes to council this year in September, I believe, is when the executive will send it to council and they'll approve it by the end of the year. So again, those community needs us are really important. And if you can help us prioritize them, that would be incredibly helpful. Now is the time to ask departments for things if you need them, right? Now is the time to have them consider your requests and your needs for their budgets, because everybody's going to be working on those in the next couple of months, pulling their budgets together for the next biennium.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the 2024 change in the plans, the plan update, comprehensive plan?
Plan update. Good question. So that work is starting to kick off now. There will be a lot of community outreach that happens around the comprehensive plan updates. There always is, I think. So there'll be a lot as well. I don't know what the exact timeline of that is, but you should expect to start hearing about that slowly. There's still a couple of sub-area plans that are being worked on now. So North Highland and Skyway, their plans are being worked on. Snoqualmie Valley was being worked on. But yes, the comp plan updates are going to be coming along.
What about Vashon? Does King County want the community council to have a committee on the comprehensive plan update?
I haven't heard anything official about that. Like, I haven't heard
Okay.
them mention that. I was not here, I think, for the last comp plan. Did you have one the last time around? The last update?
I wasn't here the last time, but yeah.
I think if you are interested in the updates, your
we are.
input would, yeah, then the input is really useful, especially if it's coming from a thoughtful group.
Okay.
So I would say expect to get versions of whatever the updates are, and your comments would be much appreciated.
Because there are people who think the town plan might be revisited, and certain updates may be important on the island and have been overlooked for a while. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I don't know that the town plan will be revisited.
Okay.
That's more sub-area plan program.
Yeah.
But the comp plan can affect what happens, kind of where that rural urban boundary is. It can affect a lot of different things. So I would keep an eye out for it, and we'll let you know when it's there for public comment, or when there are requests being made for public comment. It's important. It has lasting impact, as I'm sure you know.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much. Because this organization was instrumental in the comp plan on Vashon Island, and then, the town plan. We had committees that worked with King County on those plans. And it's been a while, though. I haven't been around for a while. So yeah, it's and will John Taylor be doing a lot of that, or who's more in charge?
So for the comprehensive plan, it's more our regional planning office, which is out of the executive's office.
Okay.
Look up regional planning on the internet, you will find the connections. We are heavily involved. Local services is heavily involved in terms of helping with outreach. So if you're following us on, Facebook or our blog or the UA newsletter, you will hear about what's happening with the comp plan, because we're always involved in the community meetings, especially in unincorporated King County, of course. So if there's an unincorporated meeting, we're there, and we will have help to organize it. So we'll know, and Bong and Marissa will know as well. They can certainly let you know what's going on as well.
Okay. Well, thanks very much. And it would be nice to see those garbage cans out in the community, because when we have events, it's really embarrassing. Yeah. Okay.
I agree. Don't worry. We have not dropped. We dropped the ball a little bit.
Okay.
We'll pick it back up. I promise.
You remember it. Remember it. Okay. All right.
Forget. Yes.
Okay. Thanks very much.
You're
Well,
welcome.
Diane, thank you. Thank you so much for joining the meeting. And Diane, would you like to discuss your work on the 501c4?
Yes, I would be happy to do that. And I think I'll start with a bit of a little background for those.
I have a request.
Melvin has a question.
Yeah, I would request that we have a quorum count and have it put in the minutes as to what time it was when we reached a quorum.
We haven't reached one yet.
Yeah, we're at 25.
We have to be 25 people who can vote.
Oh.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Daniel DeClerc is a non-resident.
Still, I guess I would like that to happen. When we do have a quorum, I'd like to have
Absolutely.
it in the minutes.
Sure. Okay.
We're watching it.
Meantime, we'll go on with what we can without a quorum. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Diane?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go back to how we came to this, because I'm sure there are, let's see, some questions about that. Here we go.
Raise my
So-
hand. Yeah.
So, Doug, you have a question already.
Well, I'm here too. I'm Kathy, and if you need a person to fill your quorum, I can be here too.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
excellent.
that's wonderful. Thank you,
Great,
Kathy.
thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
And
I think I see that Armin Yusufian is signed in twice, so we may have to subtract one.
yes, so we're still not quite there.
You're
Still
not
need
there yet?
one more
Okay.
person.
Okay.
But
My
great
daughter's not
idea.
home, so we can't get her.
Okay. All right.
Anybody else in your household that you can drag over and,
No, unfortunately not.
okay. I
have
could
a
get
cat
Michael
over
out of
here.
bed, but I
Yeah.
don't.
Nick.
Okay.
Okay.
So going back to this, I don't know if anyone saw the article in the Beachcomber that appeared last week, but I just want to explain once again what a 501c4 is according to the IRS. It's an organization operated exclusively for the promotion of social welfare. If it's primarily engaged in promoting in some way the common good and general welfare of the people of the community. An organization embraced within this section, 501c4, is one in which is operated primarily for the purpose of bringing about civic betterment and social improvements. So that's what a 501c4 is, and that is so clearly what this organization should be aligned with. And that's why we're pursuing this path. And so I've been getting a lot of guidance from very good organizations. There's one organization called the 501 Commons, which is a nonprofit that helps 501s of all sorts, mostly 501c3 nonprofits, but also 501c4. And I've had almost weekly conversations with a particular guide who's been very helpful when different questions have come up. I also last week had a free meeting with two attorneys, nonprofit attorneys as well, that
Hey, John, could you join our meeting? We need one person for a quorum.
why don't you mute yourself, David? There we go. And they were also very, very helpful, and I can have additional conversations with them as well. So I'm getting very good advice. Plus, the state of Washington, for the first time in 50 years, has updated their laws regarding nonprofit organizations in the state. It's 160 pages of laws regarding nonprofits, and I've been reviewing all of them that apply to our situation. And I'll be attending this week a class on the new nonprofit law. So I'm trying to educate myself as well as possible on all of this so that we do it right and we know what we're doing and it all goes as smoothly as possible. So to that end, one of the things that we will be doing soon is to send out a short survey to everybody on our mailing list, because we need to know, the new law requires that nonprofit organizations are very clear, if they're member organizations like ours is, who exactly is on their member list. So we need to have be sure we know who are voting members and who aren't voting members. So this survey is going to be asking people on our mailing list if they are a resident, full or part-time, of Vashon-Maury Island, and they are 16 years of age or older, which is all you need to be a voting member in this organization. And so that's one of the key things we'll be asking about in this short survey. The other is an opinion, what names you are most interested in seeing. And I'll just go ahead and put those names in the chat. Okay, so at our meeting last month, we talked about some possible names, and the comment was raised that Maury Island wasn't mentioned in the names that were being discussed back then. So now you will see that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes. So these are the names right now that are in this survey. The survey isn't a vote. It is to gather input from the 418 people on our mailing list as to what names they could live with. So that when we come back and actually vote on a name, we have much more input from the community on what the community likes or at least can live with when it comes to a name. And as you can see, with the changes from Vashon-Maury Island Community Council. They're all different from this. Some are similar. I would say the Vashon Community Council, I think most of these should pass muster with the Secretary of State, but as I said, it's impossible to know in advance. You have to send your application in and see what they have to say about the name. That's my understanding anyway, and when I've asked about that. Oh, and it looks like we have a quorum. David, Nick, what does it look like to you? Yeah, I think we do. Hallelujah. So the time was 7:39, Melvin. Okay, so David, I'm going to turn this, you're muted, David. I'm going to turn this back over to you since we have a quorum and you can run through some of these other things.
Okay, sure. Well, we can now we can approve the agenda, and I saw no objection to it. So I'll approve the agenda and the minutes of last meeting. And thank you, Ms. DeClerc. I think she's gone now. So now our quorum is of Vashon Islanders. So in any event, you were talking about the 501c3 and whether we need to take a vote on it or something of that nature. Can't hear you now.
Of course you can't hear me. I was muted.
There you go.
What about the minutes of the January meeting?
I had asked and approved it. Did you hear it?
So no, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that that got
Approve the minutes and there's no objection. And so on to old business. We're a little late on that, but that's okay. Discussion. No, we've been going on that, the old business.
okay. So that is the background on this motion that's on the floor for old business. And I would just like to open it up to the floor for people's comments and questions. Gavin?
No, never mind. I am good.
Oh, okay.
There's a question in the chat from Deborah. It says, thanks, Diane. Can you summarize what is the advantage of this structure?
Well, the advantage of this structure is that we have no limits as to what laws we can support and lobby for at King County or at the state that will benefit Vashon-Maury Island residents. For instance, if we need to take something or present something to the state ferry, the Washington State Ferries, we can. If we need to bring something to King County, we can. We're unlimited as to our ability to, in effect, lobby for our community members. Whereas if we were a 501c3, we would be very much limited as to what we could say or lobby for when it came to different laws. So that's the advantage. And a 501c3 is a charitable organization. So like you give money away, you help certain people, that kind of thing. We're not quite that. That's not really quite what we're doing. We're in effect, we want to stand up for the community members and speak to other organizations and the government in ways that will be able to help the people who live here. Does that answer your question? Okay. So I'm not seeing any other questions. So why don't I go ahead and post the motion itself into the chat. Okay. So we can take a look at it and I will also read it. Okay, so I will read this. The Vashon-Maury Island Community Council is to begin the process to create a new community council with 501c4 status. The current board of directors shall act as the interim board of the new council until elections are held for a new board in October of this year. Because of the importance of this action, this motion shall require a 2/3 affirmative vote to pass. So there's the motion, and we can answer questions and discuss the motion itself if anyone has any questions or comments about it.
Okay. Does anyone raise, you can raise your hand on the reactions button. Okay, Melvin Mackey.
I'd suggest one small tweak,
Okay,
which is, and it says, until elections are held for a new board in October of this year. I would change that to until elections are held for a new board in October of 2022. So it's more specific.
oh, good point, good point.
That's a good suggestion. I will certainly make that change. And we'll read that again if there are any other changes that people want to propose. Okay, not hearing or seeing anything. So just to be clear, I will read the whole motion again. And I need to have that change seconded. Would someone second that change, please?
I'd second it.
Kyle,
I'll allow
Kyle
to
has,
second it.
Kyle seconded it.
Okay,
Okay, so I'll read it again with the change. The Vashon-Maury Island Community Council is to begin the process to create a new community council with 501c4 status. The current board of directors shall act as the interim board of the new council until elections are held for a new board in October of 2022. Because of the importance of this action, this motion shall require a 2/3 affirmative vote to pass. And we have a quorum, so we can go ahead and do the poll.
okay. Well, Nick, do you have the poll to post?
Poll is up. I'll leave it up for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Or much less than 5 minutes. We're at 22 votes out of the 26 current participants, 23 out of 26 in favor.
I think that's pretty good. I think that's 2/3.
Yeah. That
Well,
seems
thank
like a
you all very much.
pretty clear mandate there. Yeah. Well, good work, good mandate, and let's move on. The next group is the affordable housing. Well, we're early then. Does that, would you like to speak any more about the motion or just move on? And what do we need to do now?
That will come later on in the meeting agenda. Did you
Okay.
get it, by the way, David?
What's that? The
I
agenda,
sent you the agenda in.
I didn't get the email from you. I don't know which
Well,
email you know. I hope I'm
I
not
just sent
blocking
it
you.
during the meeting. I will send it again. Look in your
Oh,
spam.
here's one, agenda, internal, yeah, I got it now. But it didn't show up in the inbox. It was like, okay, as if it had already been seen, but I guess I did see it. All right, well, thank you. Okay, well then the next item is to look at committee updates. Now, is Morgan Brown in the audience? I don't see Morgan. Okay, well then, the Equity Committee, Kevin Jones.
Hey, good afternoon. Yeah, Equity Committee, of the 20 or so folks who express interest in the Equity Committee at our last meeting. We've been in touch with everybody and set a time and a date to meet. So the plan is to have our first meeting of the Equity Committee on March 2nd at 6 p.m. And if you have not received an invitation or the Zoom link for that March 2nd, 6 p.m. meeting, and you feel you're a member of the committee or you would like to be included on the committee, please put your name in the chat and I will make sure to work to get in touch with you. The first meeting agenda is pretty light right at the moment. Major plan is to make sure that we get to know each other, as well as understand what brought us to the table, if you will, in your main goals and objectives in support of creating an equity policy for the council. So I think don't have any other announcements to make. If people have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, I see Michaela has a question.
No, I didn't have a question, but I did want to know if I could give some information on the housing committee, if Morgan is in here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, we passed over you. But Kevin, do you mind if Michaela catches up with the housing committee?
I could do it when he's done.
Okay, Kevin, are there other questions? I see Diane has a question.
Yes, so I'll be putting this on the website. And I was wondering if it's okay to put your email on there if people have questions, Kevin?
Yeah, let me go ahead and send you the proper email in a direct message in chat.
Okay, or if you could send me, please, an email, that would be much better, because then I got to take it off chat and make sure I get it. Whereas
Sure.
if I have it in an email, it'd be a lot easier. And then will you be electing chair of the committee then at this first meeting?
That's not on the agenda at the moment. I think the proposal is that we'll first get to know each other and then we'll pose the questions that we need to answer at the second meeting. We plan to meet monthly. And at that point, we do more of the logistics of what is expected of committees.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Michaela, did you want to report about the Affordable Housing Committee?
Yeah. So
I think there's another question, is how many
sorry.
people are on the committee? Let's see, about 20 folks express interest, and I believe we have around 10 people who have actually gotten back to confirm their availability for the March 2nd meeting. And I think about 5 people on the call tonight are members of the committee. So thank you so much for your participation.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And Michaela, did you have a report about the Affordable Housing Committee?
Yeah, I can give you guys a bit of an update. So I know at our last meeting, everybody was given like subdivisions and we all have specialty areas that we're working on. The meeting got moved. It was on Valentine's Day. So it got moved from Valentine's Day to this week. So we'll be meeting again. I have a long email and I don't know, I know Hunter was part of the group I was in and I forwarded her all my information and there were some other people in our group also. So we forwarded everything to Hunter and she was going to give it to Morgan. So so I can forward it to you, but basically, you know, each and every one of the groups, there is one overlap, one major overlap, and it comes down to data, you know, where everyone at some point is going to need this data. And I had a meeting with John Affeltier and, you know, he gave me some really good suggestions. I put together actually a breakdown of some of the important. And one of those things is that, you know, with housing being at a crisis point, you know, our representative, oftentimes they have funds sitting in a grant format that is for surveys. And, you know, we've spoken about doing surveys on so many different occasions for so many different aspects, of the housing, because you can't really go to step B without sometimes knowing what the facts are. And so I don't know if that's something that we could, vote on for council, or how to bring that up with Morgan not here. But I would really like for us to, move forward as a council and request surveys on the housing crisis, on the housing data, and I could send you the email because it breaks down into every single different little sector. So you have, how many Airbnbs, how many homeowners, how many renters, how many age group category. It's a very, very detailed subdivision. And if we could move forward as a council, I could definitely forward you the email that I have is with all of our data combined, that perhaps we could vote on moving forward as a council, because then we have more, strength. But there is money that could be just given to us for that survey, so it's not coming out of money, or pocket, our own
Where would you
pocket.
get the money from?
There's the King County unincorporated council members, they have grant money for that in particular. And
great.
Go to them and ask, and that would be something that perhaps Morgan or John, or somebody who we had to talk about this at our next meeting. I didn't get a chance to because the meeting was canceled.
The next meeting though, isn't that next Monday, the Monday after this Monday, which would be the 28th?
Yes, yeah.
I'd like to, go ahead, Michaela.
Oh, you're here, Hunter. Okay, yeah, because you put together a lot of the information.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so please jump in, but I just don't know how we go about getting approval as a council, or do we just get approval as the subdivision of affordable housing?
I would think the Affordable Housing Committee itself could get that grant.
Okay, so yes, anyways, I guess we'll discuss that at our meeting coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a meeting, and Michaela brought some of her information to a couple of others of ours, and very fascinating. Some people just had been discussing actual structures that could be thought about, and there were other people who were just researched, different other communities, how they had funded them. And Michaela had it, as she has this interest in doing a survey, which I thought was great. And I put that all together. I had to leave the committee when I took on the equity committee because you have Michaela, and there was nobody from the council with the equity committee. And so I felt necessary to be part of that. I can't be part of both.
No, and I'll be joining Michaela in the Affordable Housing Committee.
That's what I thought, David. So I think that's great. So I thought that Morgan would want to discuss that in their committee first, and then bring their recommendation to us. But I'd be happy to give anybody who wants that information that Michaela and I and Tanya put together, if you're interested. But I thought maybe they want to chew it around for themselves.
Morgan hasn't been to any of the board meetings, and so maybe we should forward that email to David so that he could see.
Okay. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, we should invite Morgan to the council meetings then. Yeah. Okay. I guess you could put your hand down.
Yeah.
So, okay, Diane, you have your hand up.
I just want to let you know that Morgan is always invited to the board meetings.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully we don't have too many conflicts on Monday nights, Yeah. Okay. Well, the next item is Emily Scott or Justin Hirsch. We're going to present, or, I saw our latest Ferry Advisory Committee person, Rachel Rome, is also here. We wanted to hear about the ferry disruptions and the implications. There are gaps in the schedules, like 3 hours at a time where you can't get on a ferry. And what's happening with that?
Are you asking me to comment, David? I don't have comments ready on this. I haven't been able to communicate within my FAC group. We have an upcoming, I don't want to call it a meeting, there's a presentation by the Attorney General's office to address the lack of coordination opportunities within internal FAC groups coming up at the beginning of March. Prior to that, I don't have a good way of communicating with the other FAC members outside of a publicly noticed public FAC meeting. So we haven't discussed the gaps.
Yeah. And so with the privacy, what is it, the Public Meetings Act rules, you can't have informal meetings to figure out what's going on?
We can't even talk to each other to schedule a meeting based on the Attorney General's interpretation of the law.
So who gets to schedule meetings for you if you can't meet about that?
It's a good question. I'm very curious myself. Theoretically, we could post, we could decide on a regular meeting time and post that publicly on the county website. That would be the preferred method of communication, according to Washington State Fairways Group that we're in contact with. But we would have to decide to do that. And in order to decide to do that, we need to have a meeting that is also publicly noticed ahead of time. So I'm waiting on this upcoming meeting since it's happening at the beginning of March. But the backup option is to have WSF coordinate a meeting for us as sort of an intermediary so that we don't talk to each other. As per the Attorney General's interpretation of the law. But we have then a publicly noticed meeting scheduled wherein the Vashon FEC members can meet together and discuss whether to hold regular meetings and when.
Okay. So they do you know when in March that meeting, the FAC meeting is going to be?
So it's not an FAC meeting, it's actually a presentation. Let me just look this up. It's March 3rd. Let's see. Okay, let's see, Attorney General's Office, Open Public Meetings Training. Let's see here. Thursday, March 3rd, 4 p.m.
Okay, 4 p.m.
Yes, and I think I have the invitation.
Could you put that in the chat?
Yeah, let me see. I'm gonna look for that email and see if it's open to the public or if it's meant specifically for FAC groups. I'm sure that all of the FAC groups received an invitation. Let's see here, General's Office briefing. FAC members. Okay. Arranged a briefing with staff from the AG's office. Let's see here. So it was addressed to FAC members specifically, but I don't see that they're limiting it to FAC members. It might be best if I ask John Vizina first, whether this is meant to be a public meeting or specific to FAC groups.
Well, if you have the Public Meeting Act that requires public meetings, wouldn't you think?
I mean, it's the Attorney General's office and they're doing a briefing. So it's not a meeting by the FAC members. We're not discussing anything together. We're receiving information from the Attorney General's office regarding the Open Public Meetings Act. So it's intended specifically for FAC members. I don't see anything here specifying that it's limited to FAC members. But I think that because it was addressed specifically to those groups, I should confirm with John Vizina at WSF before sharing the invitation.
Sure.
But it is not an FAC meeting. It's an Attorney General's office briefing to FAC groups. So I'll just confirm with him and then I can forward that to you, forward it to the board, and because it's on March 3rd, we don't have a meeting prior to that time. Do we have, and we have an email list for VMICC members, correct? That we could forward that information to if
I
John
think
Mazina tells
Diane
me
has
to
an
open
email
meeting.
list, big email list.
Okay.
Diane? Oh, and Robert Piston has his hand up. Did you want to ask Rachel a question? You're on mute?
We can't hear you, Rob.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, there's something wrong with my push the space bar and unmute yourself button that doesn't seem to work. So, but if you can hear me now, just yell out if I stop talking, okay? So Rachel, I really appreciate your being willing to work on the Ferry Advisory Committee. I had no idea the problems that you were going to face just communicating with other members. But at any rate, I became aware of a study that was presented to the legislature in December 2018 about the problems at the Fauntleroy ferry dock. And the legislature paid for this study, and I don't think very many people are aware of it. I would like to be able to send it to you and the other members of the Ferry Advisory Committee, but I don't have your email addresses. So if I put my email address in the chat, will you please email me so that I can get back to you and then you can send this to other people?
Sure, that's one way we could do it. I assume it's a published study. Is it available online? What do you know?
It is a published study and it is available online, yes.
Do you have a link? You could just post it in the chat.
Or if you have the name of the study, I can find the link.
I have the name of the study. I don't have the link.
Okay, what's the name?
I will put the name of the study and my email address in the chat so you can look it up, or if you can't find it, you can email me and ask for it. How does that sound? Am I not coming through? Did you not hear me?
Yeah, no, that's great. Go ahead.
Okay,
Robert,
I'll
if
put
you
it
have
in the
name.
chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Kyle, Brits?
Yes, hello. I also received something that might be helpful for this. The Washington State Transportation Commission recently sent out a request and an opportunity for people, for writers to give their opinion called the FROG Group, the Ferry Writers Opinion Group. And it might be a way for us as a community to also provide input and to be able to get updates. So I'm going to provide that link in the chat as well. Because that might be a way for us to kind of address some of these issues and some of the things that you mentioned, David, about the time gaps. Perfect. So I'm going to include that in the chat.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kyle. Were there other questions? Okay, the next item on the agenda, we have a board vacancy. Camille Reeves has resigned from the board. She'd asked if we'd read her resignation letter, and I think anyone that wants to read her resignation letter should, I guess, contact her. Do we have her emails listed? And I think basically Camille is a hardworking person, and it sounds as if she was disappointed with the commitment that some other people were putting in. And so she felt she would be better served, doing her work in other organizations. So basically, Camille, thank you for the work you've done, and we wish you well. And I hope it works out for you. So yeah, thank you for working with us. And if anyone wants to read her letter, let's see, her email is listed. Kevin, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, David, thank you. I'm curious, did I understand that Camille requested that her resignation letter be read at this meeting?
She did. And, I thought that would be disruptive, but, if people would like to hear it, let's hear it,
I would be in favor of that.
Okay.
I would be in favor of that.
Okay. Well, then where's her resignation letter?
I suggest we take a vote.
Oh, to see whether to read it or not?
Yes.
Okay. People who have the reaction button, if you want to vote yes to see the letter, raise your hand, you know, the wave the hands. And if you don't want to see the letter, don't do anything and we can count votes. Look pretty split. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4,
I'm
5,
seeing 13 in favor.
13 favor
Out of 25, that's
out of 25. Well,
slightly more than 50%.
okay. Well, then let's read the letter. If Diane, do you have the letter?
I
I have it
do.
right here, if you'd like me to read it.
Okay.
The letter opens, "Hello board, I am writing to formally announce my resignation. For the last year and a half, I have passionately worked to try and make this organization as good as it can possibly be. But because of the lack of energy and inspiration from many members of the board, my own inspiration has turned to disappointment and frustration. I strongly believe that this organization is very valuable, and I respect and appreciate enormously Diane's hard work in service to our community. But her efforts and my own are not being reciprocated by the current board. Therefore, my passionate desire to help people will be more effective channeled elsewhere. Signed, Camille."
Okay. Well, thank you, Camille. And, you know, you worked hard and I'm sorry that, you know, things didn't, you know, pay off for you. And thank you, Diane, for the work you've been doing. I think, you know, to be fair, Camille was disappointed that I wasn't taking more of a leadership role. And, you know, I view this year, this next year as one where I've been working to have Diane take over as the president of this organization. And I think she's doing quite well. And so I applaud her for that. And if I haven't restrained some people as well as might be done, you know, I'm sorry, but I think we're kind of still a fledgling organization. We're going to be going in a new direction. And I think, you know, all things considered, we're serving a good purpose for the community. So, you know, I hope Camille finds something better to, I mean, she's a mother, which by itself is a great thing to be doing. I don't think I had that issue for most of working in the community council. Melvin, you had your hand up?
Will the, excuse me, will the board then be appointing a new board member?
Well, let's see. If anyone is interested in filling her spot on the board, please contact Diane Emerson. So Diane Emerson is leaving her name as a contact person for nominations for the next board position.
There you go, Doug.
Secretary.
Okay. Anyway, new name. So the motion to pursue the 501c3 status passed 100%. So we will discuss the new name. Here are names we will be sending out in a survey to get more community feedback. A motion on the name and articles of incorporation will be made at the March 21st community meeting and voting at the April 18th community meeting. Diane, did you want to talk more about that?
Well, I did talk about the survey that would be going out and the name earlier right before we had a quorum. So I'll just ask and see if anyone has any questions about the new name. What we're planning on doing is incorporating the new name into the articles of incorporation and having that as a motion that would be seconded and then voted on the following month, so that we'll have plenty of time for people to think about these things. We also are working on draft bylaws and standing rules, and these are almost ready now for the board to take a look at them. After the board has had their input, then we will put it on Google Docs for the community to provide comments on the standing rules, the bylaws, and the articles of incorporation. So there will be plenty of time for people to do these, to have some input on all this.
And the new names, would you like to read those new suggested names?
Sure, I'll read those.
Okay.
Vashon Community Council, Vashon Council, Vashon-Maury Island Civic Council, Vashon-Maury Community Council, Vashon-Maury Island Council. Those are the names that are seeming coming up as good names for this new organization, and hopefully are different enough for the Secretary of State to approve one of them.
Okay, well, great. Yeah, Kevin, your hand's up.
Yeah, I had a question, Diane. You mentioned that the bylaws and the standing rules would be part of the articles of incorporation.
No, I'm sorry, not part of them. No, they're separate.
So my question is, well, could you explain that again? My understanding is that the bylaws and the standing rules would somehow be affiliated with or part of the process of incorporation. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You can incorporate without having your bylaws and standing rules done. So the first thing is getting your articles of incorporation submitted. Okay. You can, if you're an organization that already has their bylaws done, you can submit those with your articles of incorporation, but it is not required that you do so. Okay. So the first thing for us is to get a name and get those articles of incorporation going.
So my question, based on that clarification, is we currently have something called the VMICC policies and procedures. Are those synonymous with the standing rules that you referred to earlier?
Yes, and the reason that the name that I'm referring to them as standing rules is because our democratic rules of order, here we go. The book that we use to run our meetings refers to standing rules rather than policies. So in order to have all of our documents synchronized with both the Washington state law, the IRS, and this book, they're called standing rules now.
Okay, very good. Thanks for that explanation.
Okay. All right.
There's a question in the chat. What are the requirements for board members? Well, the basic requirements are that someone is a member of, is a resident of Vashon or Maury Island, part-time or full-time, and 18 years or older. There's a huge problem in having minors be on boards and or even committees that I'm finding out in my research. So voting is one thing, but having a minor on a committee or as a member of a board is a huge deal, and I don't recommend that we allow that.
Okay, well, thanks for keeping us out of the brambles.
Yes, gosh.
Yeah.
Not that there's many 16 or 17-year-olds that would like to be on the board.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, are there any community updates that need to be addressed? Are there people who had issues that need to be raised for the community? Okay, will you be getting directors and officers insurance, or do you already have this? Diane?
I will turn that over to John.
Okay. John, are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here. So far, I've gotten a one insurance carrier who has offered a policy. They haven't formalized it yet because we have to accept their invitation to become part of their organization. And they are estimating it'll come to about $95 a month. Diane forwarded another organization to me, and I'll be contacting them as soon as I get back to Vashon.
Okay,
So we do have one company that's offering a policy at the $95, but as I said to Diane, it's probably a good idea to get a couple quotes just in case.
okay, great.
I also got a communication from the Maple Valley Community Council, and they wanted to know if we could help them find a carrier because their insurance is going to be doubled next year.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Maybe you can get bargaining power by joining the community councils together.
I'm not sure about that. Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Okay, excellent. Well, that's good news because you know, it's nice to have insurance in these situations. All right, now open discussion. Oh, Diane, you have your hand.
Yes, I just wanted to, and we do not already have this insurance, by the way. We don't have insurance, directors and officers insurance.
Okay. Flying naked, as they say. Okay, Kevin.
Yeah, just like to do a status report. Tomorrow morning, the Land Use Committee of King County Council will be hearing testimony on their unincorporated King County Building Code updates, which of course was a motion that was passed overwhelmingly by this council. And so several folks from the community will be talking about our preference for those building codes to be accepted. I just wanted to pass that information along to the council members.
Okay. And let's see, someone else have a hand raised? Okay. Well, in this case, we're wrapping up early, which is nice. The next meeting.
Debbie Jackson has a hand raised.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Hey, thank
Debbie.
you. Okay, thanks a lot. I wonder if the King County Police are going to be speaking again. I know that in many quarters of the island, there is a lot of stealing of cars and prowling. And I want to know what is suggested that we do and suggested that they do to help reduce this problem before it gets more out of hand. So
Diane, was the major for precinct 4 going to come and speak to us next month?
Yes, I'm going to put in the chat the schedule for John Taylor's office and the sheriff's office come in alternate months.
Okay.
And here's the schedule.
yeah, I just had a friend whose truck was stolen a morning or so ago, and it showed up at Dragon's Head.
Apple cider?
Cidery.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you know, Vashon all has lots of pictures of some guy up on the north end prowling decks and all that kind of stuff. So it's a huge issue, I think, for people. Thanks.
Wow, we have an announcement here. On Saturday, March 19th, there is a lamporama where islanders can get broken lamps fixed for free. Sign up at https://vashonfixit.com. Great announcement from Amy Morrison. John, I see John Affelter has his hand raised.
I would also suggest that when you contact the sheriff's office, to give them a heads up that there seems to be some concern and be prepared to deal with the theft, the prowling, and things that are going on the island like that. I think they should have some advanced knowledge so they could come prepared to talk about it.
Good plan. Good plan. Okay. Are there any other questions or concerns at this point? Well, it's President's Day today, and it was a national holiday, but we came anyway. And the next meeting will be March 21st at 7 p.m. So at this point, oh, John, did you have another question? No, I saw John's. Okay, there we go. And so I'd like to adjourn the meeting and thank you all. And thank you especially to Diane for that great presentation and for taking this council forward in its next direction. Thank you.
Okay.
Good night,
Thanks,
y'all.
everybody. Glad we got a quorum. Woo.
Yep. All
Thank
right,
you.
guys.
Good night.
Good night, Debbie. And we got to keep hounding people. If you want something to be done, speak up, and it's great because he'll be there at the next meeting. So catch his ear. Okay. All right, Kyle, you have a question?
Oh, I was just gonna comment. Debbie, Major Hodgson is really receptive to getting direct feedback and input as well. So we can contact him directly ahead of time. He's made himself available via email as well as by phone. And Debbie, I'm not sure if you're actually still on this meeting now that okay. So for anybody who's still here, they are receptive to that. So maybe on the public forums that I've been seeing these comments as well, we can ensure that people have that information. Thank you, Diane.
Okay. And thanks, Michaela, for joining us, and thanks to all you people who came and participated. And that's how this works, by participation. So keep coming and have a good night, all.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder too, because I was working and I lose track of time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.